Welcome back and thank you very much for watching the Press Box tonight. My name is Andrew Kabura. One more time, let me quickly take you through the panel. I start off with the head of sport at NMG and welcoming him as well from a first world country back in the nation, Ismail Dhakaba. Good evening, my friend, and welcome back to the Press Box.
Glad to be here.
Yeah.
I'm now fitting into your time zone because I've had to be on this show for the past 1 month, showing up at 4 a.m. Japan time. I was part of the Paralympics, the Tokyo 2020 Paralympics. Compelling event. I've not been at an event and I'm out every time I'm watching what they were doing. I remember before I left this show to travel, we're here and Max Ali said something about the human spirit and the ability to conquer both the mental and physical challenges. While there, I was always reminded about the thing about Eliud Kipchoge when he went and ran under 2 hours in the marathon, and the hashtag was "No human is limited." Every time it rang a bell at every moment, because Andrew, it's actually maybe not enough to watch such games on television, because okay, they are better on television for one simple reason, that you can watch a variety. And if you go into a venue, for example at the Paralympics, you're not able to attend so many events at the same time. But I was always amazed, you're seeing people swimming without arms, you're seeing guys with one leg, and they're not even feeling sorry for themselves. Actually, it's who is wincing in pain. You're thinking they're in pain. It's fascinating. But it's fascinating. They're excellent at their sport. That they even forget this disability, like it's called. Rather, I'll call it differently abled. You see people who do not have the same vision with their eyes like you and I do. It was amazing, honestly. So being in Tokyo 2020 is something I'll keep with me for a very long time. Actually, it felt like when I came home, I was thinking, what can I do for these Paralympians beyond just the journalists? Because I'll decide the space. I could order you one of these days, Andrew, to host David Emong or Peace Oroma, or any of it. Or if we hosted Husna Kukunda, I think she would tell a very, very good story. If a mother could get her, because she's only 14, maybe with the kind of brands that we represent, may not be the best idea, but it's a story I want to tell and retell again and again.
Well, welcome back. I hope you are acclimatizing well, and I also hope you haven't forgotten any of the local dialects. Let me quickly move on to Mr. of course, Andrew Mwangusha, who is a columnist with the Daily Monitor and also a man who knows a thing or two about everything local football. My friend, good evening, and as always, welcome to the Press Box.
Good evening, Andrew. I'm so excited about tonight, my guy.
Tell me.
A special show, and we have different kinds, of viewers. We have first-time viewers, which for those we call them debutants. So if you're the first-time viewer here, you are a debutant, and we welcome you to the show. We have people who have no clue about sport tonight, and they are on the show. They remind me of some of my friends who go to Legends for rugby, but they have no idea which teams are playing. And I'm just so excited because we have everyone, and we are ready for them. So we are going to hear words like ball, goal, Arsenal, relegation, and then we'll also get to hear, we'll learn more about the boy from Madeira in Portugal, who went, of course, to Manchester, like our friend Peter Drury says, Madrid, Turin, and back to Manchester. More of that. I'm excited, super excited.
Don't you love sport? Such a beautiful thing. All right, like I said, we shall be having updates today from Botswana, where Innocent Daula is closely following Uganda's national cricket side, that is for the ladies. But for now, let me quickly cross over to London, where Mr. Max Ali is joining us live. Mark, can you hear me? Good evening, and as always, welcome to the Press Box, my friend.
Good evening, Andrew and Ishmael. How are you today?
Fantastic.
Very good.
Yeah, Andrew, I don't know why you went and revealed where I was, but Duck, I didn't think you were going to say that on air. Where I was. Like Dhakaba, it's been quite busy for me. That was straight from Kigali. The Afrobasket through St. Mary's Chitende for Express Vasa Amerique. And now here I am in a different time zone. Dhakaba enters the home time zone, and out of it.
Fantastic. There you go.
Don't you have Max chair?
It comes at a point when Ugandan kings are celebrating their coronations. I don't know whether this is connected.
Well, there you go, Mark. We are very happy to have you. I mean, you're in London, just like I said. The mood must be different. One of the biggest clubs in London won their first game over the weekend. Have you spoken to any Arsenal fans?
No, Andrew. If you're coming from Uganda, you're on the red list. And so you go straight into quarantine. Interaction with us, no fans, will be after a few days of COVID protocol. So right now, I'm actually locked up in my room.
Ah, okay. There you go. Wish you all the best, my friend, and I'm sure you will get your clearance and do business as it should be. We are starting off with what has been happening on continental football. That is both for URA and Express. And I want to start off with Mwangusha. Look, I'm happy that both Ugandan teams won their games. Oh, yeah. But I'm also sitting back and wondering, oh, what a story. Step out and you don't have both coaches because of qualification. That kind of takes the shine away from it, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, but like you said, we've got to talk about the positives, of course. First leg results, wins for URA beating Coffee of Ethiopia 2-1, Express Alia beating Al Marik of Sudan 2-1 as well, Eric Kambale there, and Martin Kiza, very beautiful goals as well, and of course Steve Mukwala for URA against Coffee. But of course they'll feel hard done by the away goals that they conceded, because I mean that changes everything on the continent. And for that we can be happy as a country, because I mean at least Express, for example, and they did create chances, so they have hope that they can as well create chances the other side. But of course the story that also had to come and compete with the wins is the story that always surprises, and you wonder why it happens that way. So to be in the dugout for a CAF Champions League game as a head coach, you've got to have a CAF A license. Now, all the coaches, Express and URA, didn't have at the time. And we are talking first the interim coach of URA, that's Simeon Masaba. Ahead of the game, about 4 days earlier, they appointed Sam Timbe. We know the legendary coach who is also trained in Brazil and Germany. So Sam Timbe, of course, has the badges. But the registration with the CAF delayed. And they started the game. Now, the strange thing is for URA and Coffee, both teams started without their coaches. Even Coffee, their coach had not, the registration hadn't happened. So the tactics were being transferred from the coaches, from the stands, through the team doctors to the players. So finally, about 5 minutes to the end of the game, Timbe's papers came through from CAF, and he came and they managed to, see the game through after they conceded late. As for Express, Waswa Boss, of course, has a CAF B, just like his assistant, James O'Dodge. They all have CAF B. So they went into this literally knowing no one will be on the bench. So Boss had to be sent to the stands by CAF. And they had to hire, in quotes, Simon Chirumira, one of the veteran coaches, to sit at the bench, because now that fulfills the conditions for CAF. So he just sat, and the rest of the, the commands and all was done by James O'Dodge. And somehow, but Waswa Bosa did give the team talk at halftime, and they managed to follow the tactics through. But that's something you do not wish to be happening at this stage. But it did happen, and at least their win is there to be proud of.
Dhakaba, again, I don't want to absolutely take the shine from the two important victories. But these are semi-pro setups, I should say. And these are the basics. Your coach, I'm not talking about the coach having been qualified automatically, but this should have been planned over time. So it takes us a few years back, maybe?
There's been a lot of investment. In the earlier years, I've not seen a lot of it in the past 3 years, but in the earlier years of the current FIFA administration, there was an effort to get coaches to have papers. There was actually a time when I think the FIFA president, Moses Mago, was at a press conference and announced that coaches would not be allowed into the zone. That was 2016-17 without a CAF B license at the time, and they're given time to upgrade those licenses. So to be here 5 years later on and coaches did not have his paper is a bit of a disappointment. I think you can blame the clubs and the individuals as much, but for me, it's about the administration. It has to be, this has got to be an effort of FIFA to ensure that coaches have these papers, because they're the ones who train them. Secondly, it's also that the clubs do not even understand the rules. Andrew and I, Mwangusha and I share a group where you think, how much do these clubs even know about being at this level? For example, we are discussing Express. When's the last time Express won the continent?
24 years ago.
24 years ago. So we are talking about a club that is not a regular. So you could talk about the times when they played AS Vita and the others on the continent. Maybe those do not count as much as the Champions League. So they don't even know what to do. Because last year, Vipers had the same challenge, but because they understand the rules much better, they register a different person as the head coach, and then have Fred Kajova as the assistant, so both can sit on the bench. Now, I think Express and URA should have known some of these things much earlier, but because our clubs are not regulars at this level, so it's every time they play on the continent, they are learning.
That's not an excuse, though. It's not an excuse.
They should have. It has to be something that comes right from the top. It has to be this empowerment that FUFA have gone into. And I'm one of those who has given them a lot of credit because when I joined journalism, that FUFA house was a dungeon. So I can probably tell you that it's gone through steps to have the 60 workers they talk about at the federation. The things that affect the quality of the football has got to be the qualifications of the coaches. So they've got now this a reflection on not only on the clubs, but also the federation has to look back and say what's the level of the coaches we have currently. CAF, I think, suspended the CAF Pro license because they had to redo the curriculum. I think they ordered by FIFA to do curriculums that are different for different countries because players come from totally different backgrounds and football cultures. Now, when that is happening, I think there's got to be a deliberate effort that this looks, but it doesn't actually look bad on Express and URA.
It's bad on Ugandan football
if I'm seated in a lobby somewhere in the world, it's Ugandan football. And who represents Ugandan football? It's the people and us in Mengo.
And that's my point. Mark, I hope you can hear me now. Obviously, FUFA has had strides over the years. We've seen a bit of professionalism come into the game, whether it's regulation, whether it's anything. But now the spotlight is going to be shown on the coaches. Engineer Moses Magogo is going to go back to FUFA House tomorrow morning and make sure there's more attention on the coaches and the qualifications because we cannot have Ugandan clubs not have coaches in the dugouts and we are trying to conquer the continent.
Yeah, that is true, Andrew. Indeed, there's got to be a concerted effort from our coaching. And you know, Andrew, I've said a few things about the coaching situation in the country on this show several times. And while Dhakaba says rightly that the federation has come up with the courses and all, I think there's also going to be at an individual level a concerted effort from our coaches to get the qualifications they need. And beyond the qualifications, beyond the paper, to upgrade themselves as far as coaching the game in the modern times is concerned. I have said this so many times. During the game between Express and El Merrick, I was seated just a few meters away from Sam Simbwa, who's out of a job right now, and is one of the coaches who, if there was continental football, would qualify to sit on that bench. And he was telling me about what is required for this course to be done, and how his peers and some of the younger generation of coaches have actually shied away from going to do these coaching courses for reasons as flimsy as, say, maybe thinking they're not as comfortable with the language that in which these coaches are taught as they should be. And he was telling me it doesn't matter at all if, for example, you're fluent in English or not, because the truth of the matter is that at the end of the day, after whatever duration you do the course in, it might take 8 or 6 months. It might take less, like 2 months, if you're doing it over a whole day, like Simba was when he studied in Germany. But the most important thing is that 70% of the marking scheme is on the practice of the game, which all of our coaches, who are mostly former footballers, know. And the other 30%, only the other 30% is actually the applied, which they which you can box around with, even if you had challenges with the language. But it tells you why the Makerere the university graduates, the Bamwaya and all, find it easier to do this course than some of the coaches. And I'm not saying that language is the only barrier that's stopping coaches. I think it is in our country, guys being stuck in a time warp, where think that certain trends in football, certain things about football and our game belong to the Western world, and ours down in Uganda or the rest of the continent is different. Yet it isn't. So it's largely down to the individuals to actually go and upgrade themselves. And I said it goes beyond the papers.
Mark,
if you, Andrew, I'll say 1 or 2 things about the game itself, so you see where I'm coming from when I say that it goes beyond the papers.
Yeah, I wanted us to talk about the game itself, Mark, because the coaching aside and all that drama, what a start by the Ugandan sides, though.
Yeah. Now, Express played a very good game. Now, and they scored 2 beautiful goals and were comfortable. against a team that actually plays a lot more continental football than them. And they should have won that first leg a little more comfortably than they did. But all the same, they did a great job. Now, some of the details that we need to pay to in football got expressed and stuck. One, they conceded a goal they shouldn't have. How did that goal come about? It was because the most experienced of the Express players on the pitch actually got a lapse in concentration, and that is Murshid Juko. Elmerick got a corner kick that Juko and his teammates didn't think they deserved, and so Juko had an altercation with the referee. So he's them quarreling with the referee. His teammates have gathered around either to add their voices to his or to take him away, and the whole team loses concentration. By the time they track back to the box for the corner to be taken, because the decision was never going to be changed anyway, so Juko should have known better. By the time they track back to the box, the corner is being swung in by Elmerick, who had realized that Express were out of position, and the goal went in, a goal they could have avoided. These are the things that senior players as well as coaches should pay attention to, the kinds of things that we talk about that in the modern game that coaches are getting to grips with. One of the things, the unwritten rules in football, for example, on the European scene when we watch it, at both club and international level, is that coaches have stopped making substitutions when corner kicks have been awarded. Why? Because when they make changes, players lose concentration. And people come in with fresh instructions, and before they are passed around and everything, corners are being swung in, or any dead ball, for example, for that matter. And teams concede so badly from situations they shouldn't, having defended well throughout open play. Now, it applies to what Juko is doing. As I said, it could have been a substitution, as it is, because he got everybody out of position. 6 red shirts were around him. The name is not mine, really. It's Eric Kambale, Kenzo, as well as Martin Kiza, who they signed in mid-season last year. They've used their to the fullest, that sometimes bypass their midfield and play the ball over the top to quicken their transition. And then these 3, because of their pace and their abilities, catch people out of position and score goals. And both Express goals had that a bit of that. But then again, this is an Express side which fielded a midfield 3 of Shapene, of Madiaya, our veteran, Muzami Mutiaba. And that's a very strong 3-man midfield. They also had 3 on the bench that are very good. Abdelet Rute, Musige, as well as Ivan Mayanja. That is a very capable midfield 3. And Express, Waswabosa has also just brought in Deus Bukenya and Kasozi, now who are not eligible for this game. Now imagine, that's perhaps in terms of numbers and quality of numbers, the strongest midfield in the country, in the domestic game at the moment. So that is a midfield that Express can use to dominate, to control games better in the continent and in the domestic league. And so, I mean, Waswabosa is one of the best at assembling players like this, and one of the best at playing to strength. But I say, apart from that, he can take it to the next level and make Express even stronger, not only as a counter-attacking side playing the ball over the top, but also one that dominates balls by controlling possession and determining the tempo of play, whether they step it up, down. Sometimes their transitions can be slow because that midfield is not going straight into Kambale and Reservoir as quickly as it should. And yet I've just talked about the individuals. That is 8 individuals of whom we can only field 3, but who all are high quality individually and who can be made into a dominant unit. So while I will praise Express for the result, for the last year, I say they can improve. So, and that's the challenge I put to Bosa and Ugandan coaches, to actually update themselves on the modern trends in football and adopt them as a universal thing, not something that belongs to the West, and Uganda has its own version of the game. Okay, Mark, I appreciate that you had a comment or two to add on to.
You know, one of the things I wanted to, and I hope Mark is listening, one of the things that I felt going into the weekend for the 2 games, I had no fears about how Express would perform. Actually, one of my fears was about the rustness. For example, Express were very lucky that after the league went off and then this COVID lockdown that was imposed by the president, they had a chance to go and play competitive tournament in Dar es Salaam, the Kagame Cup, which they won. So at least they have a bit of leg time in them. They've been playing football. I was actually extremely worried about URA because after the league was called off and then eventually the title awarded to Express, they've not had competitive football. And even if URA have been playing a lot of friendlies, kicking about everything they find on the road, the match fitness is a lot different. Even the game zone that you need to get into play at this level is a lot different. So I think the advantage that now URA had is because of COVID, you can only play teams within your region. So they are not handed a trip to Algeria or a trip to Garua, or a trip to Southern Africa. So they can work themselves into some kind of form and shake the rust. So I thought their result actually was much more important than Express's result.
And maybe just to, it actually showed in the way they were possessed and
at the start of the game,
the midfield was almost not there. But we also know that Ethiopians do pass the ball, and that's the worry for me, for URA as they travel.
I know if Edgar Watson is watching, he has a story. He has a story when they played Ethiopian Kofi and was Villa captain, and they passed the ball so much in the first minute, and one of his players, Philip Sozi, called him Kapi. And eventually, the referee stopped the game and actually recounted the Ethiopian players. They were 12. They were 11. And then the game continued. And you know, when I saw that, I was thinking, oh, Edgar Watson.
And I think it would be a disservice if we end without talking about the guy, is he called Teskai Solomon, the guy who scored the goal for Kofi? I mean, picking the ball from the edge of the area and beating URA all the way and, finishing calmly. So they could count themselves with a chance at home, and at home any team counts themselves with a chance. But the good thing of URA and Express is they know they can create chances. And they know if you can just sneak that goal and shut shop, not literally drawing back, but play it cautiously, and now they will also be better prepared in terms of the technical team because they know what to expect.
There you go. Just before we do that quick commercial break, let me let you know we are proudly powered by DSTV, which is making sure you continue enjoying your summer of sport. The Premier League is here. We shall be discussing that later on in the show. The Champions League is coming back this very week. There's so much tennis, which has of course come with so much drama recently as well, and everything to do with of course you enjoying the entertainment at home, not just for you, but for your family as well. There's lots of cartoons, there's lots of news, and definitely at the sport. We're also powered by Guinness. If you're above 18 years of age, please do drink responsibly, and I should add, welcome to the table of men. Let me quickly cross over though to Botswana now, where Innocent Ndaula has been closely watching the Women's T20 World Cup qualifier, and he sent us a quick report about what Uganda's performances have been like and the preparations as well. Here it is.
Nice to be on the press box tonight. I hope you guys are doing well and looking after each other very well in this pandemic era. Yes, we're here in Botswana, Gaborone, the city. Small, beautiful place, but we are here for business. It's the International Cricket Council Women's 2020 World Cup Africa qualifier. There are 11 nations competing for just one spot to go to the global qualifiers. That will happen in Harare in 2022. And then from there at the global qualifier, that's when the countries can have a clearer view of who will go to play in the World Cup in South Africa. Uganda having come here on Wednesday, they are playing very good cricket. They were unfortunate to lose. They played already 3 matches and lost 1. They've won the 2. The first match was against Namibia. Uganda lost by 4 runs, but Uganda had some positives to pick out of that match. The batting of Stefani Nampina and Imachid Nakisuyi, who got the captain herself there, who got 36 runs. Uganda were guilty of not scoring as many runs in the power play. Uganda managing 13 runs in that particular match in that power play. So when they did very well with the ball, limiting Namibia to 104. But again, they were not able to score 105 to win because of the bowling and the poor start their batters had. So in the second game, Uganda playing there Nigeria, and then Stefani Nampina standing out again with 4 wickets, and then she also picked up some runs, some late runs there off her bat, getting Uganda out of jail with a 20-run knock there, and a good partnership she had with Irene Alumo. And she took the Woman of Match award, and in the third game there was another woman of match, another spinner, Konsi Aweko. The slow bowlers have been doing the dirty work and winning matches for their teams. So Konsi Aweko coming in there to pick a hat-trick, 3 wickets for 4 runs in 3 overs, including 3 maidens. What a spell. That will be a dream spell. And then you very well know that Uganda will be playing against Sierra Leone tomorrow in the last group match. They would like to do quick business. Of course, the Ugandan team taking on a new name, the Victoria Pearls. And if they win tomorrow against Sierra Leone, they will have sealed their place in the semi-finals, where they are likely to play the big girls, the African Queens, Zimbabwe, who are unbeaten in Group A, of course, Uganda in Group B. And against Zimbabwe, it's a knockout phase. The winner takes it all. Will be going to the final, where they play for the lone spot from this qualifier. Innocent Daula here. I am happy to be part of the commentating team for ICC event, this particular event, and I'm happy to report for Nation Media Group because I am a worker there. But with me, I am joined by the assistant coach, Alpha Adoa. Alpha, please take us through how is Uganda faring here? How do you feel, and how ready are you for the semi-finals tomorrow?
Absolutely. We are really ready for Sierra Leone tomorrow. This morning we had a few things we had to follow. We had a practice. We had some practice to do in the nets, working on the power shots, working on our spinners. You know, as we noticed these wickets fancy a lot of slow bowlers, so we had to work really very hard this morning with the spinners, and then at the same time we had our batters, whom we had to work on to hit the shots very hard, to hit the balls very hard. So all in all, we shall be taking the game as it comes, and we have to keep everything simple. We shouldn't really execute so many things. With that, we believe that we shall be able to hit Sierra Leone tomorrow. Yeah, they have a couple of few good bowlers and a few batters, but that won't stop us from fighting hard for the nation. And we believe everything will be possible. And then we shall get victory tomorrow. We shall get victory tomorrow morning, and we get to the knockout semi-finals, playing one of those big teams, Zimbabwe. But we're not worried about that. We believe we shall be able to do everything to our best and keep everything simple.
Finally, Alpha, please give the fans back home some confidence that Uganda can beat Zimbabwe, because Uganda have beaten Zimbabwe before to be African Queens in 2017. Give them some confidence, and how will Uganda do it against Zimbabwe? That's what the whole of Uganda would like to know. The fans out there, what we noticed is that the slow bowlers are really doing a disadvantage to the team of Zimbabwe, as we did some analysis on them. And at the same time, they love hitting the ball so hard. But with their bowling attack we have, trust me, we shall be able to hit the Zimbabwe. That's what I can tell you. Promise you guys. Thank you, Alpha. Over to you guys in the studio. Enjoy the rest of the show. And while we enjoy the rest, and the rest days coming up.
Okay, there you go. Innocent Ndaula in Havarone. Thank you very much for speaking to us. Just before I go for that break, you were smiling. You must feel a bit sad, though, seeing your OB going that high, and you're just a panelist on the press box.
Yeah, Alpha, the assistant coach, is my OB from primary school, Iganga Boys Boarding Primary School. So glad to see him get to that level. Also glad to see Innocent. Yeah. But more so, the person behind that camera is a lady. She's called Jackie. I've seen her start out camera work. I've seen her, I think she started by doing basketball games at YMCA. And I've always told her I used to see her with a birthday camera. Yeah. The one you used to record your 2-year-old at a birthday party. The John Vianney camera. The John V. Oh, yeah. She's gone now much higher. And she was selected by the ICC to be one of the camera people filming this event. And she's Ugandan. Oh, she's the one who did that camera work. So pleased to see Jackie. You know, you may not be watching the show, but happy to see you at that level.
All right, there you go. That is a quick report for you then from Botswana. We are going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, there's so much reaction currently coming in online. We are going to be reading as many messages as we can, and then we shall be linking up with Max Ali once again to talk the Premier League. First win of the campaign for Arsenal, and first goal as well. It's the press box. The hashtag online is NTV Pressbox. Send us your reactions. In there, we are discussing a couple of issues. One of those is after Cristiano Ronaldo's arrival at Manchester United, who do you think actually could be the top scorer? I mean, there's Romelu Lukaku on the other side. There's a certain Jesus playing at City. There's a certain Hurricane playing at Spurs. And of course, Liverpool has its own great goal scorers. So who do you think most likely will be taking the Golden Boot in the Premier League this season? Plus, Manchester United fans, I didn't want to do this, but they really have put me under pressure to make sure I talk about Manchester United on the show tonight as well. Do you think United now are champions material with Cristiano Ronaldo arriving in the side? Let me quickly have some reaction online though. Andrew Mangusha has been closely following these ones. What's going on, my friend?
Oh yeah, and it's firing on Twitter. We have a co-market Simon Peter who says, I'm all in waiting for the biggest show with magnificent game brains.
Super.
And then we have Baba Mendes who says, I'm dozing, but I'll not leave my TV room. No, I'll wait for NTV Pressbox live. And then we have the linguistic one who says, Mondays are for superb sports analysis. The crew is blazing tonight, of course, tagging all of you. And then we have someone called Shakira Niyonkuru. Shakira Niyonkuru says, I'm finally watching NTV tonight. And someone called What is it that you want from me? Says, you mean you haven't been watching NTV Pressbox before? Then you have been missing. Only thing that keeps me on late TV Monday is NTV Pressbox.
Super.
And then we have Abao Simon who says, we are all set for the show. Ronaldo's super performance on his debut, Juventus downfall, this one. And then we have Simon Doctor who says, Cristiano Ronaldo is the only topic I want to hear on Pressbox tonight. And then we have Osbat Mujushe who says, the way people are waiting for tonight's NTV Pressbox, you would think Cristiano Ronaldo will be on the show. Actually, he is on the show. Yeah. We'll be talking more about him. And then we have Amir Zake who says, we are ready. It's going to be live from Kampala Serena Hotel. A lot of sporting events to dissect this Monday night. Then we have Arthur Silu Chams who says, what do you think made Novak lose straight sets after this year? Who is the GOAT of tennis? I think we still have them all at 20, so that one is a matter of opinion. And, that's Nadal and Federer. And then we have Sir Fabian Pavez who says, as usual, Monday night stress reliever, still on Tokyo time, Dhakaba, and fresh as a baby, the loved. Come on, Pavez. Not to mention the flamboyant host, Andrew Kabura. Express URA, Continental Express should dominate the show. And then we have this one here. Has Cristiano, this is the poll actually, and the poll that says, has Cristiano turned United into champions material? And then someone says, United are a dead team participating in their dream, not trophies, period. And this person needs to be on record. He's called Roman Derrick. Roman Derrick, we've put that on record. Then we have Kajubi Ezak who says, his presence alone elicits the Red Devils spirit. He brings in bags of experience, leadership. He'll surely make Man United contestants. And then we have Umar Musazu says, not yet champions, it's Chelsea. Yeah. We thank Guinness for sponsoring the show. Now, let's wait as he plays more matches in the Premier League. Strong sides such as Liverpool are still on the way. That's here. Gerard, maybe the last ones here. Buffalo Soldier says Ronaldo has tried to insert trophy-winning mentality into the teammates. Yours says Ronaldo is overrated. He's still got it, but doesn't make Man United champions by default. The last two, we have Beachmaster, who says not yet because no one has been declared champion yet. Okay. And then Waswa Frank Senyonga says, no, it's still a long way to go for Man United.
All right, there you go. Now, we all watch football for absolutely different reasons. Some of us just want to watch the flamboyant footballers. Some of us want to watch those brilliant goals. Others just want to enjoy the entire atmosphere in the stadium. One of the reasons I love watching football is the commentator, poetry in motion. Whoa. Over the weekend, as Cristiano Ronaldo was making his second debut with Manchester United, Peter Drury went all out. He threw the kitchen sink at everyone that was watching the game. Let me quickly take you through exactly what he said. Just take a... You know, I mean, how don't you love that, guys?
You know, when the last line there is CR7 reunited. Yeah. Reminds me of someone who calls Manchester, instead of United, says Manchester divided. Because of the chaos that has been at the club, especially at the time, I think when Jose Mourinho was in charge. Yeah. There's all this chaos. Players are pulling this direction, the fans are pulling that direction, the owners are dragging the club in opposite. So that's when that punchline of Manchester divided.
Look, let me cross over to Mark Sally first. Mark, Of course, you watched the game. Of course, you've closely been following Cristiano Ronaldo's return. This is one of the biggest things in world sport. But the bigger question, though, is 36 a problem? Because he just scored twice on his return. This guy could easily make Manchester United champions-elect.
36 a problem, Andrew? No, it isn't. Yeah. Not for this guy, because of how well he's taken care of his body. I mean, it's so well documented. I'm sure everybody, I don't have to go through the details of it because people know that, but it's absolutely crazy, the kind of regime that Ronaldo has been on for about 15 years now. And it's even crazier, the fitness regime that he's been on as well. There's some of the videos that came out about 7-8 years ago when he was at the peak of his powers at Real Madrid, and they were about capturing his top speed as well as his work ethic in the gym, about going about his body, building muscle, building strength, building speed, and working on his agility. And one of the things they did then, if you remember that video, it was a very, very scientific video that was captured of him then. One of the things they did is, apart from capturing his top speed, they also captured his vertical leap, how high he can go, which is why it was it became a thing, so much so that our own Bevis Mugabe recently broke his record of vertical leap on a goal scored from across, and that is because they started measuring things like that. And this is a guy who was inspired that. There were guys who were great headers of the ball before Cristiano, people we used to talk about, from people like Martin Dahlin of Sweden up to Olivier Bierhoff, who I thought actually was the best header of the ball I had seen in generations. These are guys who Ronaldo has since eclipsed because of the consistency with which he has done it, and the longevity with which he has done it. If you capture the number of headed goals out of his 800 plus career goals, it's amazing, and yet each one of them is like a work of art. You will remember his leap over Michael Essien in the Champions League final of 2008 for United, or the goal he scored against Roma in the Champions League the year after. And you remember some of the headers he scored, including that at Euro 2, that was the Euro Portugal one, the one he scored against the Czech Republic in a group stage when Portugal were threatened with being knocked out very early. That kind of thing. And then also, then you talk about the conditioning, so much so that it's been captured, and I'm sure, again, many viewers have seen that. What happened on just before at the team lunch, before the kickoff of that game against Newcastle. Every United player watching Ronaldo and his very much documented dietary regime. And then players seeing that Ronaldo did not touch that sugary dessert that guys used to like to have after last three-man attack in the 4-3-3 that Ole prefers. And I was telling them that would be, first of all, of course, United have inside forwards who play inverted with their right feet off the left. There are so many. Jadon Sanchez, the one who started that game, but we know that when Marcus Rashford returns, he probably will be the starter. And we know that Anthony Martial has done very well there, and even Jose Lingard can. So that's how the strength of depth United have in there. They do not need to force Ronaldo into roles that are going to break his back early in the season, yet they want to chase after trophies well after Christmas. So if you use it properly, it has got to be on top, at the top of the apex. If they want to use him with people like Cavani at the same time, it's got to be made a switch from 4-3-3 to 4-4-2, where they play him as a twin partner of Cavani and play a diamond in midfield of 4 people, but never out in the wide places where he started his career in 2003 at Man United, because they'll break his back and with it their season. They have so much strength in depth. United could have challenged and won the title, or at least one of the 3 major trophies, that is including FA and the Champions League this season, without him. With him, they have a better chance.
Okay, Mark.
But they develop that defender's syndrome, it will kill them.
I appreciate that. But here's the thing, Dhakaba, when you look at him returning to Manchester United, and specifically when he starts off like that, with what his wages will be, with what the noise has been around Old Trafford recently, Solskjaer is under completely different pressure now. There's a feeling amongst the United's fan base, he has to win the Premier League.
There was so much euphoria, and some of it understandable. I was actually one of those who was out when the story first came through that Oscar returning to United. I actually like the fact that Mark has really tried to move us away from the euphoria and start to discuss the football. I don't like the fact that Mark had to throw in the 4-3-3 and 4-4-2. Because those will confuse some of our viewers who are new to this show tonight. But I've got to say, you've got to keep it. First of all, one of the things I think Mark cited that he wanted to say, I'll say it in simpler language. Ole Solskjaer has got to keep the game very simple. Ronaldo has thrived playing as a centre forward and playing about 20 meters from the box. Doesn't drop so deep, doesn't go into wide positions. Now, if United are going to compete for the league title, that's got to be one. That's going to be one of the things they've got to do. Of course, you know, the things they've got to defend better. They've had so many goalkeeping calamities over the last few years. Those are some of the things that have let down United. And everyone has always discussed about the inadequacies in that midfield, especially I think Fred has been picked out so many times for ridicule. And a lot of the social media gang that go after him. But when you cite the thing about pressure, yes. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has had a lot of I think sympathy or love from United people who think they've got to accord him a lot more time to figure out what he's doing. And now he got into the semi-finals in the FA Cup and the Europa League, and what was missing? United thought they needed 2 or 3 more players. They get Sancho, they get Rafael Varane. And we're all thinking United are going to compete for the league title, even with just those. Then they go and throw in Ronaldo. Probably one of the greatest footballers in the world, the greatest footballer has ever seen. And now it's a totally different ball game. Now, sadly for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, there won't be any judgment for him between now and February. All the football in Europe, besides staying within the league title race, all the football in Europe starts in February when the round of 16 of the Champions League comes around. That's when you start to be questioned about the tactics, who has he selected, because at that point you have 18 players fit. That's why when Pep Guardiola chooses to play Ferran Torres as a centre forward and not Sergio Kun Aguero, we are all mad. He needs a striker to get it. Why has he made the wrong sub? Why is it Varane who starts the game and not Lindelof? He had a good game over the weekend. Why do we have Fred?
First time, and I want to apologize to Andrew Mwangusha. I was one of those Ugandans who made sure that Ole Out hashtag kept alive. Why? I felt he wasn't going to attract superstars. I had question marks over his tactics as well. You and I know the hashtag is going to be back, like he says in Feb, if United is not in those 2-3 spots. But again, it's the beauty of the sport.
First of all, I acknowledge the apologies. And many more will apologize, by the way. Thank you. So, but like, I mean, like Isma says, right now it's a different ball game altogether. Before the Ronaldo move, you'd say, maybe just one title. But when you look at how last season ended, second, you know, the finals that were lost. So it's been progression from the other season to last season. Now this season you expect another step better, which must be Premier League title or maybe any other title. But this season, it's so bad on Solskjaer that even an FA Cup may not be enough. Now, the beauty is Cristiano is no longer the other Cristiano of stepovers, run, you know, long range and all, but he is still deadly. If you remember in that game, there were moves when he would move out, you know, still do a little bit of stepovers, but he does it while trying to, you know, conserve the energy. And he's been, by the way, at Juventus, I read a story.
Like okay, the guys, Mario Mandzukic, you could go back,
So at United, I think he's come and he's talked with Solskjaer and they've agreed on how to use each other. Because clearly Solskjaer wouldn't come to the media and say Cristiano won't be playing every minute. But we all know Cristiano wants every minute and he wants the golden boot. That one no one should lie to you. So when you still look at that game, he still has, you know, those moments and he's going to help. At first I thought he was going to, you know, hinder the progress of the Rashford and Greenwoods and all.
They're only going to learn
but now, clearly, they are learning from him. Now, on Friday before the match, Lee Grant, I call him legendary goalkeeper because he's like a homeboy. Normally, after dinner, they do some dessert of everything you can think of, you know, apple crumb and all.
That's what Mark was saying.
This Friday, all players didn't pick dessert. They were waiting to see what Cristiano was taking. And no one touched the stuff that Cristiano didn't touch. Already you can see the mental shift, and then they're watching how he's working out, how is he, the things, those are the things. And then also because he's demanding in his press conferences, he's telling you, hey, we need to improve. We need to mature to win not just the Premier League, but even the Champions League.
You know, sometimes because we think football is such a team sport, sometimes we tend to forget the impact that one player can have on his teammates. If, for example, United fans will be very familiar with the story of Eric Cantona and how he transformed the club. There are probably even many others. If, for example, if I went away from football and, for example, mentioned, if you watch a rugby and see the All Blacks with Richie Mako, the kind of difference that one player can make in terms of mentality. There are players maybe that, yes, Andrew, whenever there's a senior player in the team, there's someone who's going to be stifled, but that cannot be Greenwood. I think one of the biggest beneficiaries from Ronaldo's move is going to be Mason Greenwood. Everyone has reviews of him. He's a big player in the junior teams. Solskjaer thinks he's the best striker at United, the best finisher rather at United, and everyone has big dreams of what he's going to be. Now that is a guy who can still learn. He's still under 20.
Greenwood has had Ibrahimovic, he's had Cavani, he's had, of course, Ronaldo in the team. He has what?
Ronaldo is now here. If this is the guy who is, these are the guys who transform teams. You put one player on the team, and the mentality changes.
Like I want to go for a break. I want to go for a quick break. When we come back from the break, though, we read all the messages and all the reactions that are coming through online. The hashtag is NTV Pressbox. Plus, I'll be crossing over to Mark Sally. I want us to talk a bit of Chelsea, Man City, and Liverpool, and definitely
we have breaking news. We have breaking news. After hours of struggle, the power of NTV Pressbox has finally come through. NTV Pressbox has taken down Andrew Kabura. Now NTV Pressbox is trending #1, Kabura at #2. So let's get it on. The linguistic once again.
The host of this show, eh?
Yeah.
You actually.
And you actually choose who comes.
Yeah, I can ask the producer to switch your microphones off.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. But go on, you have the permission from me.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. So two trends there. So Abaho Simon says NTV, it trended #1 before even the show started, which had never happened on the previous Mondays. All right.
Okay.
All right. All right. So let's go on. And then we have King Melvin, who says Dhakaba has recognized new viewers on the show present tonight. The man even rebuked Maxali for going into match football of 442 diamond formation. He will confuse our new viewers watching tonight. Okay. Then we have we have Ali Beast, who says, for a moment, I thought Kabura. Oh. No. This one says Kabura has final apologies. Oh, yes, and many more will apologize, I'm telling you. All is not going anywhere. And then we have Ahabwe, our friend Ahabwe, Tragicon, who says, the love drill, well done. People are thanking me. You finally got Andrew Kabura to apologize all out. We are collecting them now. In Feb, we shall stream rolling teams. There will be more apologies. Only in. And then we have we have Koiri, who says, the love they talk about Jesse Lingard's superb finish. It was so fast and beautifully dispatched. My guys, that goal.
It was super.
Oh, the build-up, everything sumptuous, all the three subs. Martial, you know, Van der Beek, and then Lingard, the homeboy, who was pictured years ago, over a decade, training as a youngster with Cristiano, and now they were celebrating together. And then we have we have Douglas Kizito. This one is talking about CAF. Can CAF think of having an online version of this course? This can ease pressure of leaving the country, which some coaches might find hard given other responsibilities back home. And then we have
I think that feeds into what Mark Sally was saying about us not thinking these things are Western. If everyone else is doing things online, why not CAF?
Why can't we bring them here?
Yes. And then we have another one called B. Gilbert, who says improvement in football knowledge is personal effort, mostly continuous professional development in hands of the coaches. So many free coaches, rather courses and seminars once COVID broke out. And then we have we have someone called here, someone called the Charles Luswata, who says, what I have learned today as I'm watching NTV Pressbox is that your job should always come first. And Don Pedero says, wow, it's the part where the other guy said some people here are not for football. You will hear words like balls, players. And then we have someone who says, finally, this is a Mheshimiwa. He says, so finally the show that is going to bring together genuine football fans with the rumor mongers.
Okay, there you go. Thank you very much for some of those reactions that are currently coming through online. Let's now talk Chelsea Blue with the man seated in a red chair. Maxley, I hope you can hear me. Let's talk Chelsea now. There's been so much talk definitely about Liverpool trying to get their crown back, Man City to defend it. Man United are making the big signings. You definitely cannot throw teams like Spurs out of the race. But there is a feeling that the European champions could be one of the major contenders to actually win the Premier League this season. Or do you see it different?
No, I don't see it any different, Andrew. Let me put it this way, and allow me just 1 or 2 minutes to summarize it this way.
Okay.
One, Man United, of course, have got all the hype right now because of the signing of Cristiano. And they did well in signing quality across different departments in getting Varane and Sancho as well. But the signings of this summer for the Premiership have signified where those teams are, the ones that are contenders, the real contenders are in their stages of transition or development. Now, in any other season, Ronaldo working with Sancho and Varane into United would mean that they would walk the title.
Yeah,
that's the case because they are a little behind in their development than some of the other teams. When you look at, for example, what Arsenal, who are of the big six, are the ones in the worst transition, they signed in numbers, and even the money tells it all. They spent more money on Takehide Tomiyasu and Ben White and Odegaard and
Lokonga and all those.
The Congolese midfield Longa and all those guys. They spent more money because they're in a transition, needed more numbers. Now, by contrast, Liverpool already signed Konate because they are at a further development stage than everybody else. They spent their money 3 summers ago, and they've got strength in depth. When you look at Man City, it was only Grealish and Scott Carson. Scott Carson, who is like a third goalkeeper. When you look at Chelsea, because of the strength across board, from the dugout to the pitch, Chelsea out there.
Though Mark, there's something, you know, when you mentioned how they are strong from back to front. And maybe it goes back to the coaching of Thomas Tuchel. Personally, I have challenges with the individual abilities of some of their defensive line. Of course, he's an ultimate organizer, but sometimes when you look at Thiago Silva, I think he doesn't have the legs to last.
He's in the evening of his career.
He's in the evening? Okay, he's the same age as Ronaldo. Even Ronaldo is in his...
that changes.
But that is proper double standards on my side. You realize?
It's fine. So, but I wanted to pick on, for example, Rudiger, who is very important to how they defend. I think individually, he has that lapse in concentration. And those things can cost you a league title. You know, Mark, when you're playing at that level and there's a league title to chase, you almost have to be perfect. Because in the last few years, United, for example, City have been getting 100 points. Liverpool almost did it. To win the league, you probably think about 90 to 95 points, and those lapses could cost you. So maybe, for me, the organization may trump the lack of some of the individual quality. I would have thought about some of these players at Chelsea.
There you go. At Elland Road, it was Fabinho, Salah, and Mane. Liverpool beating Leeds by 3-0.
By having Sol Niguez in there. For example, what Man City might have right now, they're surviving, for example, without contribution of Kevin De Bruyne, because they brought in Jack Grealish, who is quality for that level. So I think that's the depth that they lack is what it might cost them competing for the league title. But in terms of the first 11, they can go toe-to-toe with the world 11.
Okay, there you go. And of course, the other game that is on live right now on SuperSport, Burnley are leading Everton by 1-0. Calvert-Lewin has not played this very game. Ben Mee is the man who scored that goal, a 53rd minute strike for Daesh and his side. So it should be an interesting one. Stick around.
And you know, Rafa Benitez is still working his way into the hearts of Everton fans. So it doesn't need this kind of results. But I want to cross over to Mark before we talk about Leicester up against Manchester City. Huge game. Pep Guardiola picking a win from that one, Mark. Mark, you've watched football longer than me, definitely. Do you remember a time when the Premier League was, I don't know, maybe the word is unpredictable or this competitive? You've got about 6 or 7 sides that actually might not win the Premier League but could spoil anyone's party. Now I know one team is 17th at the moment, but I won't say the top 17. I would just say, do you remember a time when you had 6, 7 sides in the Premier League this toe-to-toe?
No, it gets better. Over the last 2-3 seasons, we've seen that develop. And that is because of the emergence outside of the big 6 of teams like Leicester and West Ham. And if you remember, the Wolves under Nuno Espirito Santo. So you had teams rising that could challenge the big six because, first of all, they could beat them in a one-on-one, but also where Wolves couldn't. For example, Leicester and West Ham showed that they could stay the course. Now, got Rafa Benitez and Everton, and the course as well. So you have virtually about nine teams that can stay the course and compete favorably for only 4 or 6 places. That 9 can rise up to 12 if you add some of those. Because, for example, at Wolves, they've signed a few more Portuguese, including the tricky youngster Trincao, to add on to what Nuno left, and yet they've kept their Portuguese ones. Now, because of the financial muscle of the Premiership, which is not waning, and yet the La Liga and Italian Serie A are struggling so badly, they have to offload assets just to stay afloat. It's difficult to even have them as a competition as far as league strength is concerned.
Okay. Look, Mark, I want to bring you in a bit, because all the times I've watched the Spanish La Liga, you've always felt it's back up Madrid. I mean, until recently when you had the Atleticos, the Sevillas, there was a Deportivo La Coruña in there that threatened, I think, Champions League slots at some point. Then you have Germany, you have what everyone calls the Farmers League, which I don't believe, the French League One. But the Premier League, when did you first watch the Premier League, Ismail? Do you remember?
Should be, you're making me reveal my age on national television. I started 2019. I started in 2019.
Well, great.
Anyway,
great.
I started in the late 90s. Yeah. I've got back to about 97.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think the improvement, like most of us know, it's about, I think, the finances. The collective bargaining agreement that allows Premier League teams to share the same in TV revenue has given as much money to Man United at the top, or United, who are the most watched league and probably one of the 2-3 biggest brands in sports, and the team at the bottom has lifted so many teams. That's why I've actually seen a story, just to understand how strong the Premier League is financially. I've seen the Football League that manages the Championship and the League One complain about the teams that get relegated being too rich for the Championship. They know it's go down with 90 million pounds to spend so they can retain their players.
$100 million.
Yeah, and then get back into the league very easily. In a league where everyone else has 20 million and they have 100. So it's that kind of thing. But that has empowered the teams, and now there's more investment. We all know the investment that has been made, for example, at Leicester City over the past few years. Even after the passing of their own, I think the Sun has continued in the same path. And then you've got to think about West Ham. They've constantly invested money, that even when they failed and brought in all these artists, when they brought in the Lanzinis and Yamalenko, even one that failed, they went back and still invested money in the Mikel Antonios and the gritty guys, the Jared Bowens. They are not giving up that. Even when, for example, in a club like Aston Villa lose a player, like when they lost the players they've lost over, they go and get the best player in the Championship in Oli Watkins, and then they improve that by Emilio Buendia, who was also the best player in Norwich in the Championship. So constantly they can improve their squads. Now when you mention the other leagues, like Mark hinted, they don't have the same kind of financial resources. We know Barcelona could actually belong in the FIFA Big League because they are very, very broke. Yeah, they don't even deserve to be working out to play football games. They're in a very bad situation. We know Inter Milan only had to sell Lukaku for that 97 million pounds because they don't have money. And they had to sell their best player. I don't think today that a club, let's say like Liverpool, would be forced to sell their best player in Mohamed Salah just to make books balance.
No, they wouldn't.
I don't think it's a club like that.
Let's quickly move on. That goal by Everton, which has been scored by Keane, means Arsenal from the live Premier League standings now moves from 17th to 16th.
He went on and on with the referee after the game. Michael Olive, I think, was a referee. And you could almost sense there was a sense of injustice. But sometimes with video assistant referees, if it's not given, you let it go. But Arsenal in a position where, for me, I've questioned the quality of the squad, because they might have sprinkles in the squad that could get them. Aubameyang now, maybe the 20 goals are still in there. But sometimes I don't see enough, for example, from that midfield without Thomas Partey. Even if they played him, do they then come from 16th to 4th? I don't think so.
I want us to try and wrap this, but I want to cross over to Mark Sully for the final time tonight. Mark, I don't know. I mean, the Arsenal fans who watch the press box are always bashing us. They don't think we like Arsenal. But we've I'm trying to make sure we're all in this, guys. Don't leave me there out alone. But Mark, here we have seen great teams from the Blackburn Rovers of this world, from the Nottingham Forests, go down and struggle over the years. And when that was starting, not so many people believed so. Now, I'm not trying to say Arsenal is going to struggle, but do you sack Arteta now, or do you keep Arteta, hoping things are definitely going to improve?
Listen, I wouldn't sack him right now if it were me. Yeah. One of the things they've gone and done, I mean, if they were going to make any changes, perhaps that would have been in the summer. I don't think that it's opportune right now for them to change. And if they're changing, to who is a big question. Ultimately, I believe that they need some stability right now, both in the dugout as well as on the pitch. They need their health to improve. So they can have certain people at least as mainstays in the team, because the guys who keep hurting them are people like Thomas Partey and Aubameyang, for their inconsistency in availability. They need to be able, when IDK talks about the fact that they don't have a backline that is consistent enough for you to be able to name it comfortably. Yeah. Again, they need to find that. I think they can. Ultimately, the pressure gets off if they can go on a small run, win 3 of their next 4 games, and however difficult that might be, they can actually achieve that. If they achieve that, and then Arteta came into what is his best team, I believe that they can. They're actually better than we all give them credit for under the circumstances. But that is not going to be believed by anybody, even coming out of my mouth. Until the results show, because it's unfortunately it's a results business that they're in. But I believe they have some pieces there which good coaching and a bit of stability on the health can put together for them to be competitive. Obviously, they're already better now than they were against Brentford at the start of the season, and how depleted the team looked in that opening game when you thought actually they were very good for relegation. Right now, if you ask me, there's no way that Arsenal can go down. Like you said, we've seen Blackburn go down, we've seen Leeds go down, we've seen some big ones, even West Ham. There are times when they had good squads and actually got relegated. I don't think I'm worried about that, to be honest. It's not going to happen.
Maxali, asante sana, my brother. As always, a pleasure having you on the show. Wish you a very safe stay. And when you come back, you definitely will be joining us live in studio. Thank you, man.
You're welcome, Andrew. When I come back, of course, I never, ever, I don't think that I've established closure on AfroBasket and the future of the Uganda basketball team. But I'd like to do when I come back into the studio, Andrew.
Maybe don't worry. I'll help Mark do a Facebook Live, perhaps.
Okay. We shall have a huge crew for that huge topic, and definitely we shall bring you in. I want some reactions that are coming through online before Isma wraps up the show for us.
Of course, we have Hansa Tenyu who says Ramsdale Zone, that interested him. We have P. Rugamba who says the energy for football and rumor mongers is quite huge. That's P. Rugamba there. And then we have Ice Price, who says the gap between Manchester United winning a trophy this season is the lack of a good central defensive midfielder and poor man management coach in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I'm seeing apologies loading. Then we have Jack Tusime. Jack Tusime has their, I don't know, daughter or son right about to enter the TV screen with Kabura on. And wow, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. They love the show. And then we have Sauvage, who says, "Are you a real football fan or a rumor monger?" NTV Press Box. Then we have Tugume Ronald, who says, "NTV Press Box, thanks for the show. Top-notch presentation from all the panelists. I'm happy for the wins of Express and URA, but I don't think they will win the tie." Okay. And then we have Biwol. And this is a Villa fan, by the way, who is tweeting this. Villa fan and, publicist. He has the temerity to say, "I'm only out today, tomorrow, and until the day we win at least 2 trophies in the season." The last one 16 years ago, Villa. And I'll be on this brigade. Yes, I'm happy we have many good players, but until we win, I'm not for all this euphoria. And then we have Masheta Baker, who says, most anticipated watched show featuring Ugandan Manchester United fans. NTV Press Box, he's called us United fan. And then most streamed watched game, United versus Newcastle. You can't make this up.
There you go. Thank you very much, guys. As we wrap up the show tonight, it's a huge week for Ugandan volleyball as well, which is why Dhakaba wants to wrap up the show for us tonight. What's going on?
The national volleyball team, having not had any kind of competition for 2 years because of COVID, are playing at the African Nations Championship for the volleyball, and it's happening in Kigali. Of course, these days, all good events that are indoor happen in Kigali because of the arena. Just after AfroBasket, the volleyball people arrived there. They got into, they were in a group that had Burkina Faso, Burundi, and Rwanda. Managed to win 2 games from their group and lost the final one in a very deflating 5-set game against Rwanda. So they finished second, but got into the quarterfinals. Now in the quarterfinals, they lost to Egypt, which got them into what you'd call placement games, fighting for places between 5th and 8th. Now earlier today, they beat DR Congo 3-1, 3-1. That means they'll be fighting for 5th. Now the interesting thing about the 5th place playoff, which will happen, I think should be tomorrow, is that they play Rwanda again. And these days, all matters involving Rwanda and Uganda are very interesting, because I was actually seeing a post, for example, today, from the volleyball from FUFA. They just posted something that we don't need, no notifications needed. And then they put a date, should be October 6th. For Rwanda versus Uganda in Kigali. They put no notifications needed, 6th October. And that was it.
That's it.
And every game between Rwanda and Uganda is extremely important.
It's more than sport now, isn't it?
Thank you very much. We need a travel advisory for Rwanda. Katuna border is still closed. So we can only fly.
I think FUFA needs to give us more statements on how the fans are going to travel to Kigali and watch the Uganda Cranes. Mwangusha, Dhakaba, asante sana. Thank you very much, guys, for coming through. A very big thank you as well to Innocent Ndaula, who's been in Botswana, and of course Maxali, who's been in London. We shall continue following all the big stories very closely. We've been proudly powered by DSTV, which of course is making sure your home is entertained. Just make sure you go out there and get yourself the latest bouquet so you can watch news, sport, and of course cartoons for the young ones. And of course we're also powered by Guinness. Welcome to the table of men, but please make sure you're above 18 years of age and do drink responsibly. From me and the rest of the panel, thank you very much for joining us tonight and making the hashtag NTV Press Box trend #1. Good night.